All right, the New Orleans Saints, they'll head up to Chi-Town, face the Bears on Sunday, noon central kickoff there up Soldier Field. We kind of talked about it earlier. There's a lot of storylines, kind of ancillary to the game, in a sense. Dennis Allen versus the Saints and things of that nature. Obviously, Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler with their history at Oklahoma. There's plenty to look at. But I think what everyone wants to see in general, is the Saints start again, maybe to take some steps forward. That's something Terron Armstead talked about this morning. He was on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN National Radio, and he talked about a variety of different things around the NFL, but of course spending as much time as he did with the New Orleans Saints, having the success in his career that he did as the left tackle for the New Orleans Saints, that was obviously going to come up. And Armstead is, honestly, if you follow him on social media, he's been commenting on the Saints plenty so far this season. Maybe we'll see if we can get him on the show actually for that. But they asked him about the New Orleans Saints, and Armstead was really optimistic and about one player in particular. Give a listen.
The Saints are in a position of optimism. They feel good about what they have and what they're building, even though you want to win. It's never okay to take a year off from winning. That's the goal. But the way that those guys compete on a weekly basis, no matter who the opponent is, I am super impressed with Spencer Rattler. I think that he is really making his case to be the guy. I want to be the franchise quarterback. He's not a placeholder for Tyler Shug to eventually come into his own or whatever. Spencer Rattler, he is playing the game like he's here to stay. The optimism is there. The cap situation is a lot different in New Orleans. They feel really good about their situation moving forward.
Is the optimism there? It doesn't really feel like the optimism's there. I think the New Orleans Saints have done some really good things at points this year. They're 1-5, and that stinks, but we all knew the record wasn't going to be good. We all knew this is going to be a team, most likely, that is picking in the top 5. And maybe if the Jets and the Titans decide to not be the worst teams in the league, they could sneak in and get the first overall pick. We'll just see. But I think most of us understand it's a certainty the Saints will be in the top 10 in the draft, and it's very, very likely they'll be in the top 5. So the win-loss record is what it is. I agree with Terron Armstead with what he said there, that, you know what, the Saints, they have competed their ass off. Except for when it just snowballed on them completely in Seattle, they have been in every single game they have played. And I think that's what makes it so frustrating, right? Because it's like, man, you're playing a lot of young guys. They're having success. They're taking their lumps, so they're going through growing pains, but you're right there. I think Spencer Rattler has had a really nice season. Spencer Rattler has thrown for 1,200 yards. He's completing almost 69% of his passes. He's thrown 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He has done an impeccable job at protecting the football. He has gotten the Saints into the right plays. Remember, that's something that Kellen Moore talked about pretty much ad nauseum throughout training camp, was decisiveness and who can go out there and run the offense. Every time he was asked about the quarterback battle, decisiveness and who runs the offense and it functions at its highest ability. Spencer Rattler's been plenty decisive, and he gets them in and out of the huddle great. And that's only really improving because they've cut down on the penalties a lot. But to say he's put himself in position to be the guy, I'm just not there. While Spencer Rattler has done all the great things that we just talked about, he has not yet shown that he can go and win the football game for you. And it's not all his fault. Look, one of the things that drives me up a wall, and I'm so glad they got that win so everyone can really stop talking about it, is the win-loss record for a quarterback. It's wins and losses are not a quarterback stat. They just aren't. There's too many other things that go into it. For one, the quarterback on the other side could go down and win the game at the end, lead his team on a drive, your defense gives it up. Well, we have to put that as a loss on Spencer Rattler's record, right? It's stupid. It's silly. It's the same thing, with a pitcher. In baseball, wins and loss record for a pitcher really bothers me sometimes too. But Spencer Rattler, in that same vein, hasn't shown that he's the guy that's going to go out there and win you the ballgame. And he's had chances in every single game outside of Seattle to go drive the team down the field and tie or take the lead. And that hasn't happened. And if you're really staking your claim to a franchise quarterback, you have to be able to do that, regardless of what's around you. Take Baker Mayfield, for example. And I understand Baker Mayfield has way more experience as a starting quarterback than Spencer Rattler at this point in his NFL career. I'm not disputing that. I don't think anyone with a brain would dispute that. And that absolutely matters. But the Buccaneers are also a mash unit right now, and they have one loss. And Baker has consistently found a way to will that team down the field. And they have a similar skill set in terms of their ability to extend plays with their legs and things of that nature. I think Rattler lacks a bit of the killer instinct. He's doing everything possible to keep you in games, and that's awesome. You're competing. But at some point, if he really wants to stake his claim to be the franchise quarterback, like this is my job, I don't need you to look anywhere in the draft, he's got to convert late in these ball games. And for him to do that, he's got to have his teammates pick him up a little bit as well. Guys like Chris Olave, you need to get the ball to Devon Vele more. That's baffling to me how underutilized he has been. We're 6 weeks into this thing. If he's not onboarded with that offense yet, then shame on Kellen Moore and that coaching staff. Your defense early in games has been really bad. Late in games, they've been pretty good. That's how you've hung around as well. I think from an optimism standpoint on Spencer Rattler, I'm not where Terron Armstead is. In terms of some of the other young talent, I am. I like what I've seen from Quincy Riley, from Jonas Sanker. I know they had a tough game against the New England Patriots. That's going to happen. One tough game doesn't undo the good that I've seen from those two guys early in this season. I think it's going to be huge to watch them go out there against Chicago and hopefully have a bounce back. That would be fantastic. You got a guy like Jonas Sanker, he's around the football all the time. I think now that you have your offensive line together, I think you really like what you've seen from Kelvin Banks. You've hardly heard his name called. That's perfect. Taliesin Fuaga in his second year, now at right tackle. I think he's done some really nice things. Now you have the line fully back together. Let's see if they can be what everyone thought they could at or during training camp or the start of the season. We'll see. I mean, you got 4 first-round draft picks on there, you'd hope, and then a second-rounder in Eric McCoy, who's your best lineman. Hopefully that is there. Kendre Miller, you like what you've seen from him. Alvin Kamara's not going to play for this team forever, right? You finally got Stutzman and those guys in at linebacker. There's plenty to like. So, from a young talent standpoint, yeah, there's optimism there. But I'm much more reserved in my optimism at the quarterback position still for the New Orleans Saints as we stand here on October the 16th, them getting ready to go up and face the Bears in their 7th game of the season. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, Rattler does start to answer some of those questions. And it'd be great to see him do it against the guy he's very familiar with in Dennis Allen and a guy he's very familiar with in Caleb Williams. Excuse me. But only time will tell there. We'll see. 6 games down, got a lot more to go. I do think the Saints have more wins in them, and I do think when you get late in the season, we're going to really be able to point to multiple guys on this team and say, man, that guy really improved. That guy is ready to take the next step maybe in year 2 or year 3 in the NFL. That's what we're playing this out for right now. Because the wins, while there are still some out there, they're going to be few and far in between.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.